super good question. So why are baby humans so helpless, and a wildebeest calf can run within a couple hours of being born?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to stretch. Well, we should. It's true that that's what humans are like, but it's also true that that's what birds are like, right? So you just want to think of like what is advantageous or whatever, I guess, for each group. So, and I'm not sure how helpless other primates are when they're born. Like as far as like I don't know how long it takes a chimpanzee to be able to climb after it's born. That's a really good question though. I
Yeah,
just
can
don't know.
it cling to its mom right after it's born? So it's like,
Pretty
a
sure.
travel purse, basically.
Yeah, I think they can fairly shortly, but I don't actually know. Anyways, I'm a primatologist. If you have a question, well, I can't invite you up. So, anyways, with humans, so we kind of have like a delayed, how do I say it, like a delayed maturation, I guess, which seems bad, but it doesn't really matter because of our parenting style and the fact that we live in cohesive groups. So a baby can get away with being a little bit more helpless because they have not just their mother or their parents. I gotta mute you. Sorry. They have not just their mother or their parents. They have an entire like social network, kind of like how, I don't know, a herd of buffalo will surround the young in the middle, or musk oxen. I don't know if buffalo actually, bison actually. I don't know if buffalo and bison do that or not. But the other thing about humans is, we in evolution you have to make trade-offs. So for humans, we are extremely, like, we have these grotesquely large skulls. We talked about this a lot on my live yesterday. And so it takes a huge number of calories and resources to build a brain like that. And we are sacrificing brawn for brain, literally. Now, human babies probably can't really get any bigger skulls because the anatomy of the females just cannot really do much more about that. It's a lot of people have talked about like we probably have brains that are as big as they can get for our species. So we've invested a lot of points in that, in those brains, which has worked well for us. It's what's given us those big social networks that allow the young to be able to be taken care of. But it just kind of means that the human baby will always be kind of helpless. But like with the bird, nesting birds, at least, I don't really know about ostriches or whatever, but they're kind of helpless too. But it's because they're able to be protected, and obviously, like an owl, a predatory bird, anything could swoop in and take a baby bird. I mean, they're completely helpless, but it works well enough for them. So,
Cool. My last question is, would you think that if we ever got to the point where we had like cybernetic enhancements, kind of like cyberpunk, right? Would that be kind of a form of like we've created evolution in that way towards ourselves, or is it not so much unless those genes are kind of passed on, those enhancements are passed on to our young? Like, would there ever be human created evolution within ourselves?
I mean, you could argue that there already is. I mean, gene therapy has already started to happen in some parts of the world. The first kind of attempt with that, it was in the really late '90s. It went really bad. It was this kid named Jesse Gelsinger, that was his name. And he had some really rare birth defect. I don't remember what it was. And they bioengineered a virus to be able to infect him with, like, I think like a working version of the gene he was missing or something like that. And he went into full blown, not exactly anaphylaxis, but he had like a body wide immune reaction to it, and he died pretty shortly. And kind of ever since then, it's really been stalled here in the United States. But no, I mean, we're doing gene therapy stuff now, and so that is going to happen. As far as technology wise, I don't know. I mean, you can't pass on technology that we would incorporate within ourselves, not necessarily. The only example where you kind of could do that is if you're like using viral technology or something to alter egg cells to like change the genetic makeup of them. But you're not like passing on like a bionic eye or a leg that way. You're just using technology to shape the genome for it to be inherited. But so the answer is like we're kind of sort of already there.
Do you see that actually helping humanity in the future, or could it cause more problems that we didn't foresee? What's your personal thoughts on it?
I tend to actually be more optimistic about things, but the potential really bad problem I can see with this is people that have like I think it could further create inequalities in our society because people that can afford it are going to be able to take advantage of it first. And because technology progresses so incredibly quickly, I think that the advantages could go to them so fast that it really does huge amounts of damage to like our political and social structures. Cause like, I don't know, you just in the last like 50 or 60 years, the ratio of like income inequality just exploded in this country. And I think the biggest reason is because of technology and our interconnected networks, because it was never before possible to create that much wealth and capital until we had, the technology to do it and the number of people to do it and the networks to be able to do it. And then what happened was the CEOs and whatever hired all the smartest lawyers and all the smartest mathematicians and whatever to figure out how to make the most money. And it happened in less than one human lifetime. The split was just, it created such an enormous gulf. And I don't know what genetic engineering exactly how it could make that like worse necessarily, but I don't know. That's my fear. People will use it for their advantage, which is nothing morally wrong with that, but if it creates these gulfs between us, then that wasn't the right thing to do.
I could only see it where it could maybe help out that situation is people getting in medical debt. So if you were gene therapy where you could eradicate some sort of disease, some kind of other genetic like
Yeah.
anomalies, yeah,
Yeah.
Tay-Sachs and stuff like that. Like
Y-
you could
You're
eliminate a
right.
lot of that debt and then get people out of the system of being in medical debt. But thanks. I mean, that's all I really had. I love your content, like your videos. Makes me laugh every time.
Well, that's good. And just to sort of add to what you're saying there, so I kind of gave my pessimistic outlook on it, but like I said, I try to be more optimistic. And one of the optimistic perspectives that I was told about, or I read about it, I think in one of Steven Pinker's books a long time ago, is the the 1% or whatever we want to call them, that like that's always existed. There have always been nobilities and kings and aristocrats and czars, and now we have megalomaniac CEOs and things like that. They've always had the highest standard of living. But, and this is when I talk to people that say capitalism is evil, this is usually what I tell them. Technology and things that raise the standard of living, they always do the most work they always lift up the bottom the most, because the people at the top, they've always had the highest standard of living. It's always been there for them. But technologies, like simple things like stuff you would never think about. Here's something that like is really mind-blowing. Full-time working moms today spend more time with their kids than stay-at-home moms did like in the 40s and 50s, for example. And that doesn't make any sense until you realize that it's literally because of technology. Because now, like, we have washing machines and things like that. You can literally just push a button, and things that you have to do almost every single day are just automatically done for you. the amount of time that's been saved by that has resulted in you can work full time and still be more connected with your children, which is pretty insane to think about. So, and then I don't know, because what we're talking about is an insane version of healthcare, basically. But infectious, like antibiotics and vaccines and things like that, those have done more for the poor people in rich countries and poor countries. It's done more for them than anybody else. And that lifting of the bottom benefits everybody. You can say the people at the top took most of the rewards from that because most of what's produced goes to them. And that's true, but it is also true at the same time that ordinary people enjoy luxuries that the richest people not even 100 years ago could have ever have dreamt of. So there's that too. No. When you said the Bible united people back then, what are you talking about?
I feel like it was people united under a single belief. Like there's multiple beliefs, but I feel like the Bible united a certain group of people, like a sports team unites people.
Yeah, but when you say like back then, I mean the what is it, 22 or 27, whatever books of the Catholic Bible or New Testament or whatever, those weren't even put together until like the 4th century. And for like even for the Old Testament, I mean the books obviously predate Christianity, but like the Masoretic text wasn't even put together until the 6th century. So I don't know what you mean. I agree that in the Roman Empire very early on, that the Christian message about specifically more about what Jesus was saying, like people with all the power and the money that oppress people, do not trust them, do not be like them, and treat other people with kindness and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I think that message probably was a huge reason why Christianity was very popular early on. But I wouldn't say it was because of the Bible, because that didn't exist for hundreds of years after Jesus died.
Okay. Would you stick with the Bible sucks, or would you say that it's a man-made creation? Like
that's why it sucks. It's more clickbaity. Because when I say that, I don't really care very much for debating the morality of the Bible, although I think the morality of it on balance is hideous, and I will defend that point. Most of this stuff up here is like scientific stuff, and I say that because like the young earth creationists and stuff like that have their alternative explanations, and they claim they derive it from the Bible. That's when I say it sucks, I mean it's not like, I don't know, a calculator that always gives you the wrong answer sucks. I don't mean that the calculator is, we should put it on trial or anything like that. I just mean it's a sucky calculator. So as an instruction book for trying to figure out the world, I think it's kind of sucky. As an instructional book for trying to build a society, I don't know if you can say on balance if it's good or bad, because anybody can take anything and make it however they want. But I would say that clearly, as the world has become more secular, the world has become a better place for people. Okay. So I think that bodes pretty poorly for it.
I would agree to the point where at the time these works were created, it was probably the best that they could do. And if we at this point in time had moved to maybe a new written word that more kind of relates to what we've known now, it would probably be more beneficial. Now, I do want to ask you, do you believe in a higher power at all?
Just potential energy.
Potential energy. So you don't believe in something that created like the Big Bang, or it just always existed, you're saying?
I like the idea that the universe has always existed. Now, maybe universes come in and out cyclically, but in a way that would still kind of be the same universe because it would just crunch and then bang and then crunch and then bang or something like that. Oh shoot, I was going to say something. I forgot.
I want to tell you something briefly before, like while you collect your thought. As a human being, I struggle with the concept of something always being there, like very very hard. Like it's like almost like a no go for me when someone says something is always. I don't understand, like, okay, I can see how people use the word like the circle, like there's no starting, there's no beginning, it just goes on forever, but at the end of the day someone created that circle. Like, so do you feel like you're okay with the fact that something's always been there? Like I struggle with that concept.
It's a very weird concept. I'm not going to tell you that it makes any sense to me, but what helps me is we have analogs that are kind of similar to it. So always existing doesn't mean that there's an infinite span of time going backwards. Not necessarily, anyways. It could just mean that time, as we understand it, just wasn't really a thing before the Big Bang. So, for example, like with a black hole, as you get closer to the black hole, the gravity well is so strong that time flows differently for you than it does for outside observers, right? And when you cross that boundary, space-time becomes not unified, because we don't know if it's like an actual singularity or anything like that, but it gets to the point where our laws of physics can't describe what's going on. But I don't think, like, if you were inside of a black hole, the event horizon, I don't think time as we understand it would flow, because as you get closer and closer to outside observers, you just stop, basically.
Yeah.
So before the Big Bang,
right?
before the Big Bang, everything in the universe that we can see was collapsed together into a state far more extreme than a black hole. And so what we experience and see and the way things move and whatever and how time passes just breaks down, and something different is going on there. So it's kind of it's not really a cop-out, because like we kind of do understand this, but at the end of the day, I am saying I don't know what was going on there. But it's not like we're trying to. It works a little bit better because I'm not trying to take what we know and make it fit into that. I'm telling you, well, no, this is a boundary of something that we don't know and understand. So maybe the answer is just something different. That's why we can't think of it.
I respect that, and I hope that we make progress on the quantum level to unify our theories, so that our general theory of relativity matches what happens at those extreme points, like singularity at a black hole. And I think computing power at the pace that it's moving at is gonna get us there. So hopefully in my lifetime and yours. Thank you for your time.